So I love it. You love it. We cannot get, this whole society can't get enough of true crime. The next one you're going to have to see is Women in Blue on Apple TV Plus this summer. I'm talking with the showrunner himself, Fernando Rovzar. So thank you for joining me, and tell us what Women in Blue is all about.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Thanks for your time. I mean, this is a very, I mean, this is such a personal and incredible show that now I've seen, and I call it incredible, not because I had anything to do with it, but because of the actresses and the crew, hundreds of people from Mexico that came together, from Mexico, from Argentina, from Colombia, that created the first, full Spanish language show for Apple TV Plus. And it's about the first female police department in Mexico City. It's about, it's obviously a story about four women that defy, an ultra-conservative society of Mexico in 1970s and join the police and fighting against husbands, brothers, parents. They join the police only to discover that the entire police department for women has been sort of fabricated in an attempt to distract people from a serial killer that's terrorizing the city. And the crazy thing is, I met one of these women that was a part of this group in 1971, and I asked her, like, why did you stay? Why, after realizing that this had been all like just this ploy, why did you decide to stay? And she said, in order to change a system, you first have to be in the system. So they stuck around, and I have to tell you, Mexico is about to welcome our first female president. And I absolutely think that there's a line to be drawn between this story and that story. And not enough people in Mexico know about the existence of the first female police force. And I believe they should.
They absolutely should. And it comes down to these four women. These women on screen are just as lovely as they are off screen. Bárbara, Mori, Ximena, Sariñana, Amorita, Rasgado, Natalia, Téllez. They are just a tour de force group of women. What was it like assembling these four to play these police officers?
It was, I would love to say that it was difficult and it was a long search and it took years, but once, when you know. And with the second I met Natalia in casting, I even before I saw her casting tape, I thought she was it. I thought she was somebody I could co-create Valentina with. And when I met Amorita and she gave this like radiant smile, I knew that Gabina was in there. And when I talked to Ximena, and other than being a very talented actress, she's an incredible musician. And I know how much timing is, essential for a musician. And Angeles is a character that is in the autism spectrum. So we really wanted to create a character with all the respect of the world, and we really wanted to portray a condition that in Mexico didn't even have a name in 1971. So Ximena took on this massive task and did a beautiful job. And Bárbara, she's not only an incredibly talented actress and a great writer and a great producer, and soon to be a great director, but she's somebody that I could always rely on and give her scenes and ask her questions and share stuff about the characters, about how real they were turning out, because not only do I admire her, but she's my wife. So I could just turn around and ask questions, and that's a gift, So I was very happy with that.
It really is. I love so much how you broke down each individual actress, what you pinpoint about all of them. It's incredible. So we have to know, obviously, this is a 10-episode series that people are going to watch this summer. Are there hopes for a second season? Is this a limited series? What can we hope for? Because I know watching all of the episodes, I am dying to see these women again on screen.
I think hope is the last thing to die. So I am absolutely hopeful. My mind is racing for ideas for a second season. Obviously, I won't have any sort of confirmation until the show comes out and we see how people react to it. But from these recent press days and the reaction that at least the media has had in terms of the show, I feel hopeful, because I think the show is connecting in much in the way that we had hoped. So if there's one season, I'll be eternally grateful. If there's 2, 3, or 10, it's just, I think there are stories, limitless stories that we can tell about these women.
Absolutely. They are history in the making. Women police officers paving the way today. History in the making for Apple TV Plus. Thank you so much. Make sure you watch Women in Blue starting Wednesday, July 31st on Apple TV Plus. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
So this is a new show on Apple TV Plus. People are going to love it this summer. It's called Women in Blue, starring Amorita Rasgado, Natalia Téllez, and two more women who I'm going to also talk with. This show is such a great crime thriller, and I'm going to ask each of them who their characters are and what it's about. So, Amorita, I'll start with you. Who is your character in this show?
Yo soy Gabina,
I am
soy
Gabina.
hija de
I'm the
un comandante
daughter
de la
of a
policía
police
y dos
commander.
hermanos pues, de
My brother, three brothers are police officers. I am a woman
policial, ¿no?
that
Porque
grew up in the
solamente se hablaba
in
de
the
eso.
police
Y es una mujer que además
fashion because at home they didn't talk about anything else. But she discovered that if she wants to become a police officer, she has to leave her house. And thanks to the fact that she meets these other women, she discovered that it's better to not to go through this journey on her own. Besides talking about murders and women missing, a serial killer killing women, well, this is a real story. We talk about these vulnerable, sad, lonely, joyful women that are discovering their own journey, always together. As Natalia always say, they go together, laughing, weeping, crying, but all together. She is Gabina in Las Azules.
And what about you, Natalia? Where does your character come into play?
Pues creo que además de que sí es
Well,
un thriller donde se está
besides
buscando
it's a thriller, we are looking for a serial killer.
historia real.
This is a real story that happened in Mexico. This first female squad in the police department in Mexico, and how they stayed forever. And all these things they had to overcome as police officers. She has her sister, Maria. Valentina is the free spirit. She's involved in students' demonstrations and riots. She loves rock and roll, freedom, bars, open relationships. And she thinks that a revolution is possible that will be changing the world if she mingles with the system, understand how it works to make it different for women. So she starts being a rebel without a cause, and then she finds a purpose with gender equity, police women, inviting them to enroll and bring credit to the labor they are performing as police officers. And as Amorita is saying, at the end, Valentina is part of this tissue they are weaving. They are part of the whole squad in Mexico, the feminine squad in the 70s in Mexico City.
Yes, it's such a great show. Very strong, powerful female representation. Make sure you watch Women in Blue this summer on Apple TV Plus. Thank you. So I just spoke with Amorita Rasgado and Natalia Téllez from Women in Blue. I'm now talking with the other two Women in Blue, Bárbara Mori and Ximena Sariñana. So let's start with Bárbara. Tell us who your character is in this incredible show.
Thank you so much. Well, Maria is a very dedicated mother and a loyal wife who believed all her life that the secret to happiness it was to find a good man, become a mother, and have a perfect family until one day she discovers something that shakes her perception of reality, and then she has to confront a new truth in her life. And this push her to join the police force in the 1971, and inside the police force she discovers her true potential as a woman, and not just in the police but also in the society and in the community with women that she get to know them, and thanks to them she find the strength and determination to follow her dream, and it's a beautiful character that I am very, very grateful to do.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. I love when she's still there and the kids are like, okay, mom, can you come back home? Can you come back home? Dad's back at work, but you're like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm following my passion. And that takes us to Ximena. Where does your character come into play?
Well, I play Angeles, who is a very very different woman for the times, and for very different reasons. Angeles is in the spectrum, so she she has to deal with that before there was even a diagnosis for this kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, she's a woman that's been told her whole life that she doesn't belong, that nobody knows why, but that she's not very good at socializing, at talking to other boys, doesn't really have any friends, great at what she does for a living, but not very realized in the other aspects of what was expected from women. And I think that once she joins the police force and she meets these incredible women and people that value her, without wanting to change her, just value who she is, she finds kind of that same strength to come out of her comfort zone and to start a conversation with herself as to why she is the way she is, and she's a true detective in the sense that she's not going to stop until she has an answer.
Yes, us Americans, we love our true crime stories. I'm sure it's a worldwide thing as well. So people are going to love this show, especially for the female representation and the powerful police presence amongst the women. Barbara, what do people need to know before they watch Women in Blue this summer?
Well, before watching the series, I don't know. I think what the people is gonna know is what the woman at that time did for the women that today are police officers and carry firearms and are grenadiers and work for the police department. So and they've set the foundations for this to happen. So they're gonna know their story.
Oh yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. Make sure you watch The Women in Blue starting July 31st on Apple TV+. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.